Right. So, what is generative AI? Um, Generative AI is first, AI is artificial intelligence. That's what it means. So, artificial intelligence is when the computers, technology have been programmed to act and think like humans do. So, the intelligence of a human, it copies it. And so that's the way we process things, we learn things, and where we create things from different information that we learn and know. And there is something called traditional software, which is something similar to, say, your Microsoft Word software. You type on it, it does what it needs to do, but it doesn't take things to create. So when I go on Microsoft before AI, if I go on Microsoft and I have this document here, that's really all it can do. Maybe it can do autocorrect if I type something wrong. This is, you see, that's AI also itself, but that's about the most that traditional, when we say traditional, that it software is to do. But generative AI, and I can show you right now. I guess it's good that we're here. um, Generative AI can take this information and create. So the word generate, it's creating something. So that's why AI really got popular, because the fact that it's able to create something out of information that you give it, it made it easier for people to say, oh, wow, I can create things with AI without having to know technology, know coding. And the reason why for that is because when earlier when I said with AI, it's designed to think like humans. The technology that's in there, all of these are technologies. Like technology has, like, there's so many different parts of technology, right? Just so as you know, like the camera is a technology, the keyboard is a technology. So what they put in there is something called natural language processing. Let me put that right here. And this is how I got introduced to the work of AI as my work that I do. Natural language processing. Natural language processing allows the computer or whatever technology to understand how us humans understand our language naturally. So instead of having to know how to code in HTML or in Java, you can just write naturally, like the way here, like the way you speak naturally, and it understands it. So that's an example of how it imitates the way humans understand, right? And then, so with natural language processing, when you type something, the computer processes it and understands it. And then it also can understand in something called natural language understanding. It's like very minor different words, but this is the ability for it to process what you're typing, and this is the ability for it to understand. Processing is what, like, it's creating the information. So let's, for example, let me show you here. Say clear. Let me see. What is generative AI? So clear explanation of generative AI versus traditional software. On a traditional software, what I'm about to do, you probably can't do, but on AI software, you can do it. So copy. This is Let me use apps that we can, yeah, other people can use, because I have Gemini here on my thing, but it's paid. So I'll stick to using apps that are free. Actually, let me not use this chat because that chat is also extra. I'm going to do my best to just use like the free apps to show the possibilities, at least even with the free with AI, because that shows that almost everybody has access to it if you have access to a computer or a phone. So all these would be free apps instead of unpaid that we're going to be using for this course, introduction course. So you saw that when I copied it. So now with generative AI, what it can do, so with this generative AI software, you can say, can you explain this to me? Right? So right now it's generating. When I tap that right there, it used natural language processing to process and understand what it is that I type naturally. You see, this is not HTML, it's not a code, but it understands it. Before, in the past, this was available before ChatGPT. This AI was available without the natural language processing because it was just codes that process it. The first project that I work on was it? Yeah, that's one. It was like right, like just couple of months after ChatGPT like released, and then the clients were talking about how they want to be able to search the database for the a huge organization that collects data. And but at the moment it takes them so long, and this was just right after COVID. I think everybody remembers COVID if you were alive then, because a lot of governments were rushing to get information to collect the data on like what places were affected, what populations were affected, but all the information was in the database that they need a developer to search. So it made them think like we need to be able to search this information fast. So COVID really changed a lot of things for technology, but this was a request that they wanted to do. So what they really wanted to do was to be able to type simple things like these, like, oh hey, what's a population of people living in Virginia that have COVID? At the time though, only developers were able to go in there, so it would take like a week for them to get information and the answer on something that now, if they did go through with that project to get to search that database, they can just type it. The end user now can just type it and get the answer with generative AI, but before then it was just, and this is just, that's a real problem and a real request that actually existed. But I don't know if the project is existing already now. At this, it was years ago, but if let's say they use generative AI on their technology, they should be able to just type and search because of natural language processing. Okay, so I think I went into too much details into that, but it's just one of the. Inf- this is like how I got introduced to it, so I understand it. That's why I feel like I had to explain it as far as how. But so just showing you here how with this technology it's able to create and explain all of this. If I go into say years ago before the or if I don't have AI on ChatGPT, like here, okay, perfect example. So you see that same question that I just typed, I could put it right here, right now, right here, ask it to explain, and nothing. It's not explaining anything. I just type it there and it's just sitting there. So that's traditional, right? But with the generative, it's able to, interact with me and tell me and show me things. So traditional is rule based, it follows rules written by the programmer. And it's just, that's, well, let me not, this is just to show how it can respond. But but this is Google now. If you do have the paid version on Google, just as a, if you're curious, you can actually because Google add on Gemini, so now I can actually go ahead and ask it this question. Let me see. So now with AI on this, on top of this, now when I go refine, this is Gemini on Google Docs. That's why you're seeing this screen. If you don't have it, there we go. So now when I do that, it's generating, giving back the information that I want, and then you can go ahead and insert, and now all the explanation of that is right there. Just an example of the difference between traditional and generative AI. Generative AI can actually create things for you, where traditional, it's not made for that creation. Okay.